Actually, I was nervous.
I pretended I was in the jungles of Panama.
You know it.
And I said I was in the jungles of Panama.
When?
Is that thing? Whose is that?
This is mine. And it's still recording.
One of the great videos is when brother-in-law.
Yeah, like your pizza bread that was holding the thing.
Yep.
Were you helping with the wedding?
Yeah, they take it away.
And they bring it back. That's my spot.
That's my piece.
Amazing, yeah. That's amazing. This is amazing. You walk right up to it.
We didn't know where those were. I'm not asking you. I'm asking you.
What? I bumped into you like full force and
Stay right there. Molly's going to propose.
I can get everyone's attention. Thank you. I got everyone's attention. Good. I just, as maid of honor, my duty tonight was to talk a little bit about Meg and Meg and Jeff by extension. As I tried to start to think about this today and what I was going to say, I realized that trying to say what Meg is to me, or who she is and what she means to me, is a little like trying to say what it means to walk or to breathe, because she's always been there in my life, and she's sort of just part of how I know the world to be and what I know the world to be and my life to be. So it's sort of hard to do that, but still, I can come up with some things. Some memories and stories. Many of you probably have better ones than I do. You are welcome to share them later on. When Meg was little, what I remember most, or quite a bit about her, is how quiet she was, because she was always sucking 2 fingers. And she had 2 fingers in her mouth constantly, and her other finger on her belly button. And she spent probably the first 6 years of her life, or something, most of the time like that. And if there was any way of making her completely miserable, it was by putting something on her where she couldn't get to her belly button. Like a dress like this, for example, but she's gotten over it now. You can see she can handle it. We had a neighbor that called her Two-Fingered Pete. She was also just a great lap sitter. She was always sitting on my mom's lap and my dad's lap and just quietly sitting there pondering the world. That's what it always seemed like. I remember also that she could sleep absolutely anywhere, anytime. It didn't matter if it was loud or quiet or whatever, she could sleep anywhere. But she also had this way of not liking to see other people sleep peacefully. She would go around, often Maria and Meg and I spent most of our first 10 years probably together. And she would go around if you were sleeping and pull your eye open to see if you would wake up or not. And she did that to Joe a lot too, when he was a baby especially. We did a lot of gymnastics, the three of us, too. I remember constantly cartwheeling around the upstairs or outside on the lawn. We also liked to put ourselves into sleeping bags and slide down the stairs in our house, something that probably today you would get arrested for or something. But we did that over and over again. And Maria and I would always try to play alone without her, but she constantly wanted to play with us, and it was sort of the bane of our existence at that time. But and we always got in trouble for not including Meg, but that wore off, you know. What I also remember, I'm sure we all do, is that she was such an animal lover. Meg just always loved animals, and we went through gerbils and hamsters and birds and dogs, and then horses were also a very big thing, and we would all get in the car and go off and watch Meg do horseback riding lessons. She was just never happier than when she was covered with many furry creatures on her shoulders and everywhere. And Toby, our first, well, it wasn't our first dog, but her first dog was an award for getting on the honor roll in junior high school. Polly was a gift from Jeff. So you can see that there's some sort of achievement connected with animals. And Oscar, who is a recent something that was acquired recently, we don't really know exactly what he symbolizes yet, but we'll find out. Meg always had an irrepressible giggle. She tended to giggle a lot, especially when people would trip or get hurt. She's a nurse now, and thankfully that tendency to giggle when people get hurt has sort of gone away. It could be a handicap in her profession. She also loved to tease. I think she got that from my Grandpa Robinson, but she loved to tease mercilessly, especially me. Joe a little bit, but and I also remember particularly the way that she could wail whenever misfortune struck, such as her toast being burnt or something. She would let out this, "Oh my God!" terrible wail as if the house were burning down or something. As an adult, for the greater good of sick people in the Twin Cities area, she decided to turn her love of animals to a love of sick people and become a nurse. And that's a profession that I never foresaw her taking on, but as soon as she did, I realized that there was nothing more perfect for Meg. It was really her vocation. I remember when Meg mentioned that she was seeing the son. She had met the son of a woman that she was working with, Marlene, and that she kind of liked him. And that was Jeff, and that was some years ago. And you two have followed a somewhat unconventional path to this day. And some people find their soulmate at first glance, and some people have to travel a longer path, and that's just as good. And I would just like to say to you both that the happiness that you found today is hard-earned and well-deserved, and I'm really happy for you. I'm happy that you found each other. And so to Jeff, I would just like to say that I'm sure that my parents and Joe and I and the entire Robinson and Hagen clan, we are very happy to have you as a new brother and a new son, and we welcome you to our family. So, for the first toast of the evening, I would like you all to join me in toasting Meg and Jeff, the newest couple in our family, and may you have many, many years of happiness.
Well, I'm not sure how I can top that, but my job as bass man is to also say a few words, and I just took that job pretty seriously. Last night I decided to sleep over their house. They've been shacking up for a while. I just wanted to make sure there was no horse before I'm sure nothing bad happened before the wedding day, but I ended up getting drunk and falling asleep, so I don't know what happened. Just give a little history. I met Jeff about 4 years ago. His hair was a little longer then. Not much, but a little longer. And you've done a lot of things over the last 4 years. This being the biggest, I think. But just along the animal lover theme, the story that springs to mind is the old frog story. Jeff, being a great animal lover, we actually killed a frog and then brought it back to life. Like everything that kind of starts out as a bad joke and gets worse. We were up north camping and we were drinking, and we saw this frog just kind of hopping around. It's doing its little thing, and we thought, well, let's stick this in the cooler so the next guy that opens it's going to jump out. It's going to jump on it. So we thought that would be pretty funny, so we stick it in the cooler, and it's just ready to jump out, and we're kind of snickering like schoolboys in the corner. One guy goes up, takes his beer out, nothing happens, and the next guy goes up, nothing happens. So we kind of sneak up there, and we open up the lid, and this frog's just lying on his back like this. Just lying on top of the ice, dead as a doornail. So the animal lovers that we are, we try to save its life. And this is a true story. We got the frog out very gently and laid it on top of the cooler, and I kind of pumped his chest a little bit. Jeff gave a little mouth to mouth. And I rubbed his chest a little more, and he gave it mouth to mouth again. He got happier every time he did it for some reason. Eventually, after a couple of times, this little thing kind of jumps over and hops off. And so this is the story of how we saved the frog. So I sort of propose a toast to these guys. Finally got it done. I'm kind of surprised by that. Just want to take a toast and just welcome these two to a married life. Not always that easy, but it's worth it. Give it your best shot.
Anybody else? The floor is open.
No.
I could tell a couple.
That's it.
Stay over there.
The animal lover that Jeff is. Jeff, remember when you asked me if you could have a rat? And what did I say? One rat? And then Jeff was going to go someplace, and I had to take care of his rat. And I went downstairs, and there wasn't one rat. There was 20 rats. How you snuck those in the house, I'll never know. Oh yeah, the chickens.
Well, anybody going next?
Meg, I just have to say a couple things to you. One, as a sole cowboy fan representative of this family, I have held the fort alone for 20 years or something. So I want to thank you very, very much for bringing reinforcements. But the other thing I want to say is some advice. I urge you very strongly to become a strong cowboy fan and supporter. And I say that because you cannot win. You must join us. And now finally, I know the bonds of this marriage will be very, very strong, because I know you won't let me down and split a cowboy fan out of this family. I know it'll work great.
I've already brainwashed my daughter.
That's 3.
All right, let's hear some Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin.
all right.
Let's do this.
That's right.
Where's that little?
I just tell your mom she's not going to church, she's dancing with you right quick.
Oh, yeah. Maisie, go and dance with Daddy. Look at, go. Come here. You have to dance with him, okay? Then I'll dance with you for the rest of the time. Jeff. Yeah, we'll go.
Good job, Tyler. I'm out of here, Joe. All right, well.
And dance.
Oh, I'm not going to dance with my video.
Camera going and take my picture the whole time. It's you.
Okay.
How do you stop it?
Just the red.